Hello, my name is Jasmine Lee, and I am not your mama's astrologer. Welcome to the week. It is Monday, there is no school, and some banks are closed for Memorial Day. Astrologically, it's a new moon. I feel like this week, Gemini and Mercury are super cute, super having a spotlight mo. So it's like that notion of, what are you going to do with all those thoughts? What are you going to do with all of this collective juice, all of this ability, all of this capacity? Because the cool thing about Gemini is they can be black, they can be white, they can be purple and gold and green and blue, and they are a rainbow. They don't want to ascribe to any one which way of doing or being. So if you're the kind of person that really likes control, if you're the kind of person that always wants the direct answer, if you kind of really know what it is you want to do, cool. All right. Gemini's gonna buck up a little bit against that notion. If you're someone who doesn't like to be easily defined, or you're someone who likes liquidity of thought, then all of this Gemini Mercury vibe is really great. It's great for you guys that don't like it also, because it's about expansion. It's about being able to not be attached to it being one way or the other. It's about being able to come to the empty page, to come to the blank canvas, and let whatever is true in the moment be true. I feel like high road Gemini can really thrive in the present moment, can really thrive when they aren't forced into their past or forced to make decisions 5 years out. It's like, no, what's alive for you today? So that's your homework this week, my gorgeous people, is what's alive in you today, this week. A new moon in Gemini is like anything goes. A new moon in Gemini wants new thoughts, wants new dreams, wants new patterns and ideas and concepts to expand upon. And Gemini doesn't want to be pinned down to dogma or, a definition or a title, because that's very violating to the Gemini sense of flow. And again, when I think of that high road Gemini, I think flow. When I think low road Gemini, we can go down that road, since Gemini is playing such a big role in this week's dynamics. Low road Gemini can be duplicitousness, can be not wanting to tell the whole truth, can be not taking accountability, can be split personalities, can be high-low, can be bipolar, can be hard to make a decision, can be hard to commit, can be hard to follow through with plans, can be so spontaneous that you actually are annoying. That's Gemini. It can be. So we start the week today with a new moon this evening. It's also, Jupiter is here. Mercury is trining Neptune here. The sun is in Gemini. So I actually see this new moon as a really beautiful opportunity to expand. And when you're willing to let go, when you're willing to unclench your fists, when you're willing to see the other person's side, when you're willing in something new that'll keep you here and present and generative and going. That's what I love about the opportunity of all of this Mercurial Gemini energy. Also, hello, writing, communicating. That's what Gemini rules, is communication, is thoughts, is writing, is translations, is putting it out there. What is the thing that you need to say? High road is you finally say it. Low road can be you finally said it. We all have to take accountability for what we need to say. And we all need to accept the consequences of what we're really thinking right now. And, Gemini doesn't necessarily give us a lot of clarity all the time, but what it does give us is a unique insight into the mind voice paradox. And if you can't say the thing out loud, write it down. because Gemini also has things to say, both verbally and, writing. All of that stuff can be so generative and beautiful, especially today. And then tomorrow, Mercury, ruled by Gemini, in Gemini is trining Pluto retrograde. So it is like, change your thoughts to change your life. Change your sentence structure. Like, say it different, say it wrong, say it right, but just say it, or at least communicate it in a way. Reach out, put yourself out there, put your mind out there. Allow new concepts, allow new ways of thinking outside of the box. These are really lovely, but they only work when we are willing to transform. And with Mercury trining Pluto, it is a huge opportunity to transform. It is a huge opportunity to see ourselves in a different way, to think about it in a different way, to produce something in a different way, and then to transform based on that new righteous thought. So get out there, man. Start thinking the thoughts, start allowing yourself the room, the wiggle room to change your mind. Because oftentimes it's when we are willing to change our mind that our true values start coming to the surface. That when you loosen the control of Dharma or of the notion of what you think life is, or what you think your life is, or where you're going, when you release control of it, all of the sudden these aha moments of, oh, but you know what I'd really like? Oh, but you know what I'd really want to say? Oh, but you know what I really should be thinking, saying, doing is allowed. I think sometimes this world can be so gnar. This world can be so hard, and it can be so stifling that what Gemini gives us is the pressure release valve to change our minds, to swerve, to, say it when normally we wouldn't, to eat it when we normally wouldn't, to listen to it. So find something different, listen to something new, take the long way home, go on a walk, do something that's going to open that pathway, because there's new coming in. And if you aren't willing to let go, relax, stay present, let that newness come, you're going to miss the boat. And Gemini, misses the boat sometimes because their timing can be off. But knowing that there's this much mercurial action, I want you to ride those waves, surf your brain, brah, and see what bodacious, amazing balancing structures start to come into focus. Because it's interesting that I brought up surfing, because I like that concept for Gemini. The you don't know what size the wave is going to be. I don't even surf. I have no idea. I'm kind of terrified of open ocean water. But if you can find your center in the middle of a big wave, damn. You're rocking and you're rolling and you're learning, and new avenues open themselves up to you. The wave opens up and you're inside that wave. That's so Gemini to me right now, because it's only if we're willing. It's only if we can find our balance. It's only if we can get up in time. But the notion is you have to go and you have to get up and you have to try, because nothing new comes in when we're staying on the couch, when we're staying safe, when we're keeping our brain locked away in old, tired belief systems. And you guys, the world is changing rapidly. The new paradigm is here. And, that's a bunch of bullshit hippie logic to say that if you aren't willing to change, no matter what's going on in the world, you move it or you lose it. If you stay the same, if your thoughts are the same, if your routines are the same, if everything is always the same, then rigidity comes in. Then the lack of tolerance towards others comes creeping in, because the more you stay the same, the more threatening contrast appears. And Gemini is all about contrast. It's the twins. It's Jekyll Hyde. It's good mood, bad mood. It's don't tell me what mood I'm in. Let me vibe what mood I'm in. Let me surf that wave. So that's the beginning of this week. And then Thursday, Mercury is going to have a big old kazemi, which is my favorite word if you've been listening to me much. Cazimi just means when the sun ignites the thing. So Mercury and the sun are right together. So the sun is illuminating Gemini, which is our thoughts, Mercury, which is our thoughts, our communications. And so it's almost like we're gonna get to see behind the veil. We get to peel ourselves back and see what it is that we're really wanting to say, think, and feel right now. And then do it. Grow a pair. Come in with big dick energy, and whatever happens, happens. And that's high road Gemini. It can also be low road Gemini. Like, give craps about how you're making other people feel. Don't just come in like cats do, because to me, cats are very Gemini vibe. They'll come up on the table and they'll sit there and they'll just knock the goddamn water bottle over and spill water everywhere as if, who cares? Come at me, bro. But that vibe, come at me, like whatever. I wanted to do it, so I did it. I thought it, so I said it. Like, if you are not that kind of person, what do you think would change in your reality if you tried it out? If you just said a little bit more, if you just thought a little bit more openly, if you were just willing to untangle a few of the stuck knots inside of your idiosyncratic, nervous system thought process, if you could just rewire. Our phones need to do it. I mean, I'm suspicious about why my phone needs to update so much, but I am not suspicious when I update, because I need it, you need it, we all need it. And in these times of uncertainty, in these times where we feel like we don't have control, what I love about Gemini is Gemini, to me, represents freedom of choice. That we don't always get to control what happens to us, but we do get to control how we think about it and how we're communicating it and how we're processing it and what our system is deciding to do with all of the things that are available to us right now. And there's a lot that's available to us right now. And with this Mercury Cazimi, it's like, I'm shedding a light on something. I'm thinking about something. I'm, dipping deeper into my thought processes, the whole notion of thought, the notion of what I'm thinking. Is it in alignment with what I'm feeling and doing? Am I actively living a life that is not in alignment with what I've been thinking about lately? When we wake up and bitch about our backs hurting and bitch about the day, or we don't like our job, or everything feels hard. Do you see? It's like you're shitting on Gemini vibes. It's like you're not riding the wave. You're just paddling out and looking at them and being like, oh, that one's too small. That one's too big. That one's dangerous. And then you don't end up riding any waves at all because you're so busy being stuck in the inertia of non-movement. And all of this Mercury Gemini energy is about movement. So what do you want to move? What do you want to start thinking about that could manifest into something bigger? Because when we talk about manifestation, there's so many planets we can draw from when it comes to manifestation, but the most powerful place to start is always our thoughts, because whatever is going on in our thoughts gets mirrored to us by our interactions, by our daily life and rituals, by what we're choosing, by who is around us. And if we started doing that more authentically, and we started doing that from a very conscious, because Gemini can also, since it's about the mind, it's about our consciousness. And imagine if you believed that whatever you were consciously considering was something that could actually happen. And again, and again, and again, and you could build off that. And it's like, I don't know, I'm kind of one of those people that wants to start the thing and then I want the cookie for the thinking of the thing. But there's all this process in between the idea and the accomplishment of that idea, of that thought, of that notion. There's a big difference between thinking about folding my clothes and folding the stupid clothes. I hate folding the clothes. Do I like to have clothes at my disposal that are clean and not in my garage? Yes. Do I like the process of doing it? Maybe not, but Gemini likes process. High road Gemini is here for process. High road Gemini can process quicker. So you have a little boost, a little bump, a little help with if you're willing to transform, if you're willing to think different thoughts, if you're willing to do something new, then Gemini is going to be so supportive this week to help like rebuffer, to help reboot, reload, re-establish a new operating system inside of yourself. And I love that for us. And then we get this like really deep catharsis at the end of the week this weekend with on Sunday, Venus like conjoining and getting close to Chiron. So Venus is our lover, Venus is our feminine energy, Venus is our textiles, our feeling bodies, not a little bit. And then Chiron is our wound. Chiron's what hurts. And they're both in Aries right now. So it's a very, we end the week in a solo kind of way. I mean, maybe because you Gemini'd too hard this week and now people are mad at you and you kind of got to like take a hot minute and be like, whew, I Gemini'd. Okay, I Gemini'd too hard. Now I need to work on what my defense mechanisms are, taking accountability for how you've hurt people, how people have hurt you. There's so much transformation at stake right now. There's so much up for grabs. There's such a beautiful energy that is both hard because it's asking a lot of us, but so dope because it's asking a lot of us. And day-to-day reality just isn't enough. Like that doesn't move the ball. That doesn't, put the benchmark anywhere where I know you want to be. I know if you listen to astrology, I know if you're into this podcast, you're into it. You're into like wanting to find the thing, the chi, the kundalini, the dharma, the whatever. You're just seeking because if you're interested in this kind of stuff, you're interested in energy and how you can use it to better function or to make mistakes. And Gemini is a really good energy to allow you to make mistakes, but also to allow you to rectify that, allow you to see it differently, allow it to move you in a way that then come the end of the week with Venus right next to Chiron, you can love different, you can process different, you can partner different, you can create connections differently because you learned something this week, because you got on the damn surfboard and you surfed to somewhere new and you reached a new plateau. And I think that in life, stagnation and living with our decisions and routine and things not changing and the world feeling out of control, and yet we are hyper controlling of our environment, creates this rigidity in our id, in our beingness, in what we have to share and do and be in this world, in a participatory world that demands us to say yes, that demands us to say no when we need to. And Gemini is so good at asserting what's true right now and just saying it. And we don't always like the consequences of what happens when we do that. But I think that this week is a very powerful week to, if you can't build up the courage to say it, to really define it, to really find a new definition of thought for yourself going forward into these new times, to really find new pathways, new emotional bodies, new ways of seeing your plight. Because Lord knows we all got one. We all got something that's bugging us, something we need to work on, something that's challenging. And Gemini says, hey, have you looked at this? Hey, have you just tried to eat more greens and go to bed and fucking leave your phone out before you go to bed? Like, don't take it in bed with you. Simple as that. And yet, Gemini can take the smallest thing and turn it into wonder and turn it into ritual and turn it into concept and communicate philosophy and have something new to teach from that arsenal of the ability to change and move and see differently. So, whatever. I'm still in my hotel room from my astrology conference. I'm lit with astrology knowledge and inspiration, and being around people like that is very inspiring, also overstimulating. I feel like here's the low road of this week, which is how I'm feeling right now, is that I'm overstimulated. Gemini energy is very stimulating. It is very thought-provoking. It is very like, snap, 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 snap. The music's a little bit too loud. The static is a little bit too loud. The slamming of doors are a little too loud. It's like if you are someone who likes it quiet and slow, this week is going to feel kind of abrasive. I'm a pretty abrasive lady, so I can roll with that. But when I'm rolling into the week, already at this like overstimmed juncture, I personally am going to channel all of this Gemini energy into goals, into new rituals, into establishing more rituals, more communication with spirit, more, this is what I want. This is what I want. This is what I really want. The caveat is you just have to start thinking of some new things that you want. And Gemini's chill with that. So that's your homework this week. What do you want? What do you want to bring into being with your thoughts and your voice and your ability to shift and move with what is and what's true for you right now? Not how you took your coffee 5 years ago. How are you taking it right now? And if you've never changed how you take your coffee, maybe order a breve, maybe a cappuccino. Whatever. It's just about being willing to go on the journey. I love that movie, Yes Man, with Jim Carrey. How and in improv, the scene is dead if you don't say yes. And so don't live in a dead scene. Say yes, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for listening. Please like, follow, subscribe, come give reviews on my podcast. I would so appreciate all of that. And I hope this week brings some inspo. I hope it brings some fun because Gemini's fun, but I also hope it helps you release a lot of what you've been hanging on to because all it takes is a little shift in mindset. Thanks so much for listening, and I will see you next week.